This is a little letter, a time capsule, really, if you will, for Chris in the year 2025. I will not play this back until then. Hey, Chris. So, 5 years in the future, huh? What's it like? You know, 5 years doesn't sound like a lot of time until you remember it's half a decade. But then that doesn't sound like a lot of time because 5 years ago was only 2015. But then it does sound like a lot of time because 2015, I was a completely different person. I lived in a completely different place. Geez, so much of my life has changed since 2015. There is a plane flying directly overhead. That's cool. No, that's a helicopter. Do you still live in LA? Do you still have helicopters flying over 24/7? I hope so. I love Los Angeles. Do you still have the same friends? Do you still hang out with like Corey and Amy? And I'm assuming like Andrew and Anna and Jack and Ray and Sammy and like that core group. I'm assuming you're still besties. Jeez, Andrew and Sammy have gotten married at this point. Have you married Susan? Are you still with Susan? The most important question, I guess. I hope so. She's amazing and fantastic, and I love her so much with all of my heart. Are you still running? I really hope so. You know, you were running every day for like a year back in 2018, but then stopped when you went to Malaysia for 2 weeks. And that break that you were taking to recover from jet lag lasted an entire year. And it's only been this past week in 2020 that you have started back up. And I'm vastly out of shape. You know, it's taking me a week to build back up to being able to run 1 mile consecutively. And I only did that yesterday for the first time in a year. So I know, small steps, but I'm proud of that, and I hope to continue that up. I guess a little status update about that though, because I keep hearing like YouTubers talk about how it, you know, makes their mental health so much better and they just feel so much better in the day. I don't have that. I'm completely tuckered out for the rest of the day, at this point at least, and I'm hoping that goes away soon. What about your love hit? Well, it's not really a love hit, it's more like a love with caffeine. Because I am trying so hard to stay off of it, but it's tempting me every single day. In fact, considering that I'm releasing this on the same day that I'm filming it, I'm probably going to need to have like just a cup of tea today. Jeez, how's that gonna work with college? Yes, because Chris, how was college? You finished. 2020 Chris here is very nervous, terrified in fact. And I have several questions, like for example, did you actually get your CS degree? Did you stick with that, or did you chicken out and go with something easy and kind of safe, like, I don't know, photography or a film class? Not that that is easy or safe, but I definitely, the work would come a lot easier to me because I'm more passionate about that than a CS degree. But at this current moment, I'm worried that that is not a sustainable source of income to feed a family on because it's so incredibly freelance. So right now, I'm hoping to stick with CS. What is this little hair doing? it's doing its own thing. You know what? I'll let you live. Just kidding. That is incredibly annoying. Did you meet any new friends there in college? I really hope so. Like right now in 2020, you have a few good friends here, but you want more. You want more good friends too, not friends that live, you know, an hour and a half away constantly. Because right now, most of your friendships are over the internet. People that live across the country, in North Carolina, in Tennessee, in Texas, in Oklahoma. It'd be really great to have friends that you could actually just like go out for lunch with, you know, spend a day working in a coffee shop with. I really want that. Because Chris, in 2020, you feel pretty lonely. I guess on a slightly happier note, have you like continued to expand your palate? Because previous you, up to this point, has been very picky about what he eats. However, because I just spent a month in Malaysia, there were oftentimes situations where normally there was food that I wouldn't have really given a second glance at, but it was my only options where I was kind of forced to try it or go hungry, and found out that I actually liked it. Your boy here discovered he likes eggplants. I just didn't really consider them before. So that's really cool, and I'm really hoping that this will continue to expand. I'm trying new things. Real question though is, do you like tomatoes? Because from 1995 to 2020, that has been probably one of the most consistent things in your life, is your utter hatred of those little red orbs of death. I wonder if that's gonna change. That'd be wild. It's kind of happening to me with onions. You know, I used to absolutely detest them in any way, shape, and form. But lately, I've been enjoying the flavor. Can't quite bring myself to enjoy when I'm like eating soup or something and I see the sight of an onion, then I reflexively gag. But if I just close my eyes and look away, even if I know that there is onion in the soup, as long as I don't actually see the sight of one floating, I can totally tolerate it. That's really good, and I hope that that continues. I don't like being a picky eater. It's not fun, it's not convenient, and it frankly just sucks. I know that my palate is very limited. I also just don't like retching in front of everybody. So there's that. Are you still doing YouTube? I'm assuming YouTube's still around. I mean, they just reported it brought in like $15 billion. I'm assuming that this is like something that they're going to continue to do. I'm sure the layout looks different though. Here's what it looks like in 2020. I'm sure in like, heck, 3 years it's going to look totally different because such is the way of the tubes. That's such a lame thing to say. I can't believe I just said the tubes, and that's been preserved forever now. Cool. Currently, this channel, Reno, has like 27,000 subscribers, I want to say. Most of that did, in fact, come from the 2019 Malaysia trip, but that's really cool. And the only thing that's cooler than that is the fact that your vlogging channel has passed 40,000. Just bonkers, which I'm almost at the point where I would consider myself like a actual small YouTuber. I feel like 50,000 is kind of the limit of that. Once just in my mental ranking, 100,000 is like, okay, a medium YouTuber, like enough where you might get to know some of the bigger folks, but not like huge, you know? YouTube's not going to send you packages. That's at like the couple million territory. Even still, there was like, what, 2,000 people that passed 1 million subscribers in like 2017. Also, yes, you're at 40,000 on the vlogging channel, but you're still averaging only like maybe 1,000 views a video, which is still really impressive, don't get me wrong. I'm very happy for that, and I don't want to take that for granted. That's our current situation in 2020. On a more serious note now, I guess. How's it going with the whole like guilt thing, you know, where you'll just randomly start feeling incredibly guilty, like cold sweat, very anxious, very nervous, even though you haven't done anything wrong? It's something that I've struggled with at least since being a teenager, and I don't know why. It's just a thing. I don't know. Maybe it's actually anxiety and I just don't know that that's what it is because I haven't really looked too much into anxiety, but I also don't want to self-diagnose. I feel like if I'm going to say that I have anxiety, I want that to be an actual diagnosis to not just take away from people that are actually really suffering from it. You know, if this isn't it, if this is just a minor thing, I don't want to give it the same weight as people that are actually dealing with the severity of the real problem. So I don't know, maybe you should get that looked at if it just gets worse. On a lighter note, what's fashion like in 2020? Do you still wear skinny jeans? I love skinny jeans. Oh my gosh. I remember back in the days of the boot cut when I was still aggressively homeschooled and wouldn't touch skinny jeans with a 10-foot pole. I would constantly trip over my own pants because there was just so much denim fabric lying around. But now skinny jeans, they hug so tight to your leg that you feel like you're not even wearing anything. It's great. I love skinny jeans. I love the way they look. I love the way they feel. Mwah! Skinny jeans are amazing. What about colors? Do you still like a very like bright, white, clean, yellow aesthetic? Do you still love the color yellow? It's like just so warm and cozy and colorful and happy. It's such a wonderful color. And white is just so clean and pure. This is definitely your aesthetic right now in 2020. Do you consider like around this time, 2020, as like the happy days? Because I kind of think they are. You know, granted, I'm not as obliviously happy as I was when I was a child, but definitely, I would say the most satisfied with myself that I am at any point in time now. Especially because, like, you hated every second of high school. You kind of told yourself that you weren't good at learning and kind of stupid, and that's just the way you are. And learning new things was incredibly difficult, but that's something that I'm hoping to smash with college. So I hope that, even though right now I feel like I'm learning more and more about myself and becoming more and more self-confident, I hope that by the time that you watch this, you have gotten so much more of that. 30. That's so old. I hope you're happy with yourself. And I hope that you're excited for the future. You know, maybe after you finish reacting to this, which I'm sure you're gonna do you want to like film one for Chris in 2030? which sounds like so far in the future. I mean, I remember being like a kid in like 2004 and thinking 2020, we're gonna have like colonies on Mars at that point, which did not happen. But I really truly feel that despite my like gaining awareness of the awfulness and atrocities in the world, personally, every year I've been getting better and better, or at least attempting to become a better and better person. And I hope that that continues on into the future, and now you're looking back on me now and cringing. I hope that is the case, because that means that I've grown so much more as a person. And maybe grown more in my fashion sense. Because that is one thing, Chris, in 2020, you have no such thing as a fashion sense. You're just making it up as you go along and hoping that nobody notices. And finally, just tacking this onto the end, a quick little time capsule of just current events. The Sonic movie is released. You're trying to figure out how to set up a home server. The Wuhan virus is currently still like a huge thing going on in the world. You're very excited to see that new Pixar movie, Soul. Your favorite TV show right now is The Good Place, which just ended, but you binged it with Susan, and so you have a really soft spot in your heart for it. You saw Rise of Skywalker, and while you do agree with all of the complaints against it, you can completely understand how it had many issues. You just liked it for the spectacle. You've been having the whole no phone thing since you got back from Malaysia, so in the meantime, you've been using Susan's old Android, but the problem is the SIM card doesn't work, so you have had no like phone service, and you don't understand how you're continuing to live. How do people live like this? I can't imagine what life was like before cell phones, genuinely. I know that makes me such a stereotype, but it's true. Your boy needs his daily allowance of Twitter. The current best iPhone is the 11, and you just ordered a used 10R because, you know, the whole no phone situation. And you're very excited for it. It's supposed to come in less than a week. Wow. Oh gosh, here comes the sun. Doo doo. And finally, your favorite movie is Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Just, mwah. Oh, the Prowler theme. So there you go. Here's my little time capsule, my little message in a bottle from 2020 from 24-year-old Chris. I hope you're doing well, 29-year-old me, and I'll see you in 5 years. And to wrap this all up, a little message that I hope that you take with you into the future. Stay positive. Okay, confession, I was reminded of this idea and inspired to make this video because Dodie did one of these, and I just watched it like yesterday and was very happy about it. But this is not like, I didn't steal the idea from her, because I did one of these when I was 10 years old, 14 years ago. So if you want to see that, here it is.
I am Christian Porter.
This is comedy right here.
I shall now turn normal.
Incredible.
Is that amazing or what?
It's so amazing.
Okay.
That haircut. Can we talk about that haircut?
Christian Porter Howard. I am 10 right now.
Okay, that's fine.
So, and I'm 67 pounds, in case you're wondering.
I was in fact not wondering that. I don't think anybody was wondering that. And I can assure you, Chris, that number will only go up.
You are probably watching this right now. Yes, you might be me, but then that makes you me, and I'm you, because you're me. And I'm you, because you're me in the future.
Yes.
And I am you in the past.
Yes.
Something like that.
I know, confusing, isn't it?
So, I was just wondering. Oh, yeah. Okay. By the way, I love Pokemon and Star Wars.
Chris, you don't like Star Wars. You like the Lego Star Wars games because your parents didn't allow you to watch actual Star Wars.